All right. Well, good morning. And yeah, you're awake after that. So today the theme, as you have gathered, is how did we get here? Why is it that God needed to come? So I want to start with asking a rhetorical question. Keep your answers to yourself. I don't want to hear responses. Just think about this in your head. Can you think of some way in which being a God-fearing person, following the rules, has benefited you? Can you think of something where in your life this has gone well because you did what was right? Maybe you feel like you got a job opportunity because you did what was right, and because you did what was right, it was recognized, and you got either promoted by your boss who saw that, or you got moved into a different place. Maybe you got a spouse because you did what was right. Maybe you got some money, or maybe you got an opportunity, a vacation. I don't know, but see if you can think of something where you profited. Something turned out well because you did what was right. Maybe it's just that you sleep well at night because your conscience isn't bothering you. You say, yep, I sleep well because when I go to sleep, I know that I did my best. Not perfect, but I did my best, and I sleep well at night knowing that. And that's profit. The reason I bring this up as an opening question is because it's at the crux of how things really got bad in Israel. And as this story is this metaphor for our life, it's an important question for us to ask too. The children of Israel get to this point in history where they start to go, wait, how is it that we're better off following God? How is it? Because we see other people, other nations, and they do terrible things, and God's not punishing them. We see that we're doing what we think is right. We're doing the sacrifices, we're doing the rituals, we're doing all these things, and you know what? We don't feel particularly better off at the moment. And as these doubts creep into their head as to, what's the benefit? What's the point? Why are we doing this? It allows them to drift slowly away. And that's what we see at the last part of the Old Testament. The Solomon years, it was 40 years of perfection just about, from 930 BC to 970. 970 to 930. 40 years of going great. And we have this decline. And so what I'm going to read for you today is the book of Malachi. And Malachi is the last book of the Old Testament. It's written around 400 BC. So you've got 500 years of downward trend till we get to the book of Malachi. It's a short book. It's 4 chapters, but I've edited it down to just one reading that we can do today that gets the gist of what's going on. To understand some of this a little better, to fill in some of the historical gap, think about this. They've gone from Solomon's kingdom. They've gone to be split in two. Syria has come over, taken over the northern kingdom, and dispersed all the people to history. To this day, they're gone, never to be heard of again. The southern kingdom has been come over and has been taken over by the Babylonians. They've been removed to Babylon, and some of them have been allowed to come back. Since the Babylonians took over, the Persians took over the Babylonians. And so now the Persians are in control of this southern kingdom. The only thing that's left, these remnants, this small group. They're no longer great. It's just whoever got sent back, and the Persians have said to them, go back, restore your temple, do all the things you're supposed to do, be proper Jews, go, honor the Sabbath, do your rituals, do all those things. So the Persians sent them back and said, go do those things. And so you have this small group of people around 400 BC that are in Jerusalem being told to, resurrect the walls and all this stuff. And that's all you've got left. And so think about what's going through their minds right now. It doesn't take a whole lot of imagination to think about this, but They are not a great nation. They're a tiny little group of people in the backwaters of the Persian Empire. They're nothing. They're nothing. God hasn't come to restore them and make them feel great about themselves. The glorious future that they thought was ahead for them doesn't exist. It's just a few of them hanging out in this tiny little town. There's no majesty, there's no power in the temple. It's a pretty desolate time. They're not feeling like, oh yeah, if we just do the right thing, things will go well. They've endured 500 years of splits and of takeovers and sending back and destruction. 500 years of this stuff going against them. And I feel like sometimes in the church, new church and the Christian world in general, we have some of this same feeling that, we're just insignificant anymore. And this is what these Jewish people of that day are feeling. And so the Lord sends Malachi. And he sends them with a message, and he says, this is what's gone wrong over the past 500 years. And he speaks in a very down-to-earth way, which is kind of why I like this book. So here we go. It's a long setup to get here, but here we are. From chapter 1, verse 2. It says, I have loved you, says the Lord. Yet you say, in what way have you loved us? Was not Esau Jacob's brother, says the Lord? Yet Jacob I have loved, but Esau I have hated, and laid waste to his mountains and his heritage for the jackals of the wilderness. A son honors his father, and a servant his master. If then I am the father, where is my honor? And if I am a master, where is my reverence? To you priests who despise my name, yet you say, in what way have we despised your name? You offer defiled food on my altar, but say, in what way have we defiled you? Well, by saying, the table of the Lord is contemptible. And when you offer a blind animal as a sacrifice, is it not evil? And when you offer the lame and sick animals as a sacrifice, is it not evil? Offer it then to your governor. Would he be pleased with you? Would he accept you favorably? Just pause there. The rules about sacrifice were very clear. You don't give God the crumbs off your table. It was, you bring the first fruits of the land. You bring your male animals without defect. They're perfect, the best stuff you have, and you sacrifice that to God. But they don't feel like they can see God. The Adam and Eve story, the early stories of Genesis, God's in the garden with them. And now, where is God? And they go, well, he's not here. This animal's missing a leg, was born had a birth defect. We'll give that to God. God won't notice, right? We'll give that. We'll give the animal that's sick. This animal's got a disease. We'll sacrifice, but we'll give this diseased animal. It's going to die anyway. We'll just get rid of that one. We can't eat this. Lord's saying, look, if I'm a father, if I'm a master, give me the good stuff. Would you give this to your governor? That's great. Offer it then to your governor. Would he be pleased with you? If somebody was there and see it, would they be pleased? No. So you're offering me all this junk. You're not supposed to eat your dinner and then, look, we have some scraps left over here. Let's give that to God. No, he says, that's not what this is supposed to be. You're supposed to sacrifice and then go eat dinner. It's really simple. He says, now back to verse 9 there at the bottom of the page. He says, but now entreat God's favor, that he may be gracious to us. While this is being done by your hands, will he accept you favorably? So he's like, you're not giving me anything good, and then you ask for my blessing, but you clearly hold me in contempt. You don't have any regard for me. So why are you asking me for blessing when this is the way you're treating me? For my name shall be great among the nations. But you profane it in that you say, the table of the Lord is defiled, and its fruit, its food is contemptible. You also say, oh, what a weariness, and you sneer at it. And you bring the stolen, the lame, and the sick, thus you bring for an offering. Should I accept this from your hand? It's not only are you bringing me your garbage, but you say this is weariness to bring it. You don't want to bring it. The offering's supposed to be grateful. We're supposed to look at our lives and say, look at everything that God's given me. Look at all the ways God's given to me. And because of how grateful I am for all the gifts, I am happy to give you this. I'm happy to give you this. But he's like, you're you're bringing this here in misery. It's like, imagine if you got asked out for dinner to a place you didn't want to go. Your friend says, let's go out to dinner, sit around the table. You don't want to be there, and you're sitting around this table miserable. And your friend's thinking, well, glad I brought you along, right? Yeah, thanks. Okay, well, we're having a good time. The Lord's going, wait a second. This is supposed to be a blessing. You're supposed to give great easily. And you say, oh, what a weariness. But cursed, back to verse 14, but cursed be the deceiver who has in his flock a male, and takes a vow to give the male without defect, but sacrifices to the Lord what is blemished. For I am a great king, and my name is to be feared among the nations. So don't just say you're going to give me something good and then not. That's no good. So that's the first major complaint. You're not giving me the stuff you're supposed to, and you don't do it with any gratitude. And this is the second thing you do. You cover the altar of the Lord with tears, with weeping and with crying. So he does not regard the offering anymore, nor receive it with goodwill from your hands. It's pretty much a continuation of the first one. You have wearied the Lord with your words. Yet you say, in what way have we wearied him? In that you say, everyone who does evil is good in the sight of the Lord, and he delights in them. Or, where is the God of justice? Yet from the days of your fathers you have gone away from my ordinances, and you have not kept them. Return to me, and I will return to you. But you said, in what way shall we return? Will a man rob God? Yet you have robbed me. But you say, in what way have we robbed you? In tithes and offerings you are cursed with a curse, for you have robbed me. Even this whole nation, bring all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house. And try me now in this. A lot of the translations have it, and test me now in this. Try me now in this. Look, I am telling you, bring all the stuff you're supposed to bring and just see what happens. Just try it out. Because you test the Lord in so many other ways. You test him to see if he's going to bring justice. You test him to see if he's going to bring love to your life. You test him on all these things, and you try to get away with things. You test him to see if he's going to catch you. And when you do something wrong, he says, test me on this one. See if I will not open for you the windows of heaven and pour out for you such blessing that there will not be room enough to receive it. And I will rebuke the devourer for your sakes, so that he will not destroy the fruit of your ground, nor shall the vine fail to bear fruit for you in the field. And all the nations will call you blessed, for you will be a delightful land. Your words have been harsh against me. Yet you say, what have we spoken against you? You have said, it is useless to serve God. What profit is it that we have kept his ordinance, and that we have walked as mourners before the Lord of hosts? So now we call the proud blessed, and for those who do wickedness are raised up. They even tempt God and go free. you have said it is useless to serve God. I think that's one of the real challenges we have in the world today, because we don't see him. You don't walk around and go to the supermarket and bump into God at Kohl's. He's just, it's just not the way it works. If I do something to offend anybody, I can see their reaction. I can see the look on their face and go, oh, geez, I shouldn't have said that. I shouldn't have done that. Do something different. But when we offend God, we don't see it. And it makes things difficult. We say, don't need to do it. Doesn't matter. We can look around in the world and we can see people who we know aren't nice people. We say that person isn't very nice, and look at all the promotion they got. Look at the money they've got. Look at the beautiful house they've got, the beautiful car. They've got more something, better husband or better wife, I don't know. They've got things that you think, this isn't fair. How am I profiting? The evil are getting away with bad stuff. Where's the God of justice? How come these people aren't being punished and I'm not being raised up? This is where the Israelites are. This backwater province, this tiny little place under the control of the Persians. And they're saying, what gives? But the Lord's saying, look, you feel like you've followed the rules. You're saying you have, but you actually haven't. You haven't sacrificed some of the things of the world for something spiritual. What you have sacrificed hasn't been the good stuff. You've given me the scraps. When you have given me the scraps, you haven't given it gratefully. You say that we haven't profited from serving God. This is where when we start getting to the New Testament and Jesus comes into the world, he starts saying, look, it's not about the actions. It's not about a ritual. It's about your heart. Where are you on the inside? You've got to learn and train yourself to actually enjoy being a good person. And it takes practice. And it takes a different mindset than just going through the motions. So we get to this point of the Advent because we've kept slowly moving away. And as we keep moving away, the blessings get farther and farther away to the point where we're saying there's no point in this whatsoever. It's not easy being godly people in some ways. And we had the kids talk. You saw the picture of the man of God, and what's he dressed in? Some shorts and nothing else. He's got nothing. He's got nothing. There's never really a great picture of the benefits of being a man of God. We have Solomon's kingdom as the one good example of where things go well and it profits. For the most part, being a man of God, being godly people is a little more lonely, a little less worldly profitable. But there's promise that there's victory in the end, that in the end there is a profit. We've just got to hang in there. And we've got to not weary the Lord with our complaining that we don't have all the right stuff. So when you think back to that question of where have you profited from the Lord, you may not feel like you have monetary profit. You may not have felt like you got a job. But it's important for you to hold on to those things. It's important for you to say, yep, you know what? When I did this, when I lived my life this way and I did these things, I did make out better. You got to hold those tight so that you don't fall into this trap like the Israelites did and keep yourself moving farther away. Hold on to those so that you can stay strong, stay in faith, and say, you know what? Yep, things aren't working right now, but I know deep down that when I do the right things, good guys and girls do finish first. Sometimes it's just a come from behind victory. Amen.